Welcome to the Hall of Fame Series, San Antonio. We're near the beautiful Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio, inside the Frost Bank Center for a top 25 matchup between two undefeated teams at 8-0. Miami, off their dramatic run to the Elite Eight last year, off to a great start. They will measure up against the 10th-ranked team in the country, the Baylor Bears. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us, along with former Gator great Steffi Sorensen. I'm Brenda Van Lingen. And Steffi, both Miami and Baylor are 8-0. They have wins over top 25 opponents. But do we really know how good they are, and what do you think we'll learn today?
Well, this game is going to allow us to find out what these two teams are made of. Because we're in a what have you done for me lately culture, right? Those signature wins came so long ago. We want to see what these teams can do right now heading into conference play. And I think not only is today's game a great challenge, but an opportunity for Baylor to show what they're really made of. And is Miami a top 15 team, not just a top 25 team?
Yeah, these two teams are loaded with talent, both returning and from the transfer portal. Returning for Miami, Jasmine Roberts leads the Canes in scoring, and Kentucky transfer Dreana Edwards leads the Bears.
Well, Miami, that magical run, Brenda had a front row seat last year, and Jasmine Roberts was a big part of it. She's a vet for Katie Meyer's team, and she's just shooting the three ball right now so well for the Canes. Shooting a blistering 47% from the three. That's a dream for me, Brenda. But she leads the team in free throw attempts. She's going to score downhill. She's got the ability to finish tough makes, but the ability to shoot the three ball right now has really been clicking for Miami. And conversely for Baylor, this is a well-oiled machine. Dreana Edwards gave me the interview of my life when she was at Kentucky, but she has found a home here at Baylor. She's an undersized post player. She runs the floor. She can shoot around the rim. She can also shoot the three, but I think she's a crafty rebounder. She can make plays, and this Nikki Collins system, she definitely fits.
Nikki Collins came from the WNBA and really has that kind of mentality, as she is now in her third season at Baylor as we get things started here in San Antonio. Miami is in their black jerseys with the orange, and off the backboard right away, Lachey Dwyer gets things going. As we look at the Baylor lineup, a new starter today, Bella Fauntleroy, started part-time last year, but this is her first start of the year, the most consistent player for Nikki Collins, especially defensively. That you've got Andrews, who's the only player for Baylor who has 2 years or more of experience in a Baylor uniform. The handoff, the jumper, first shot goes down for Baylor. As we look at the Miami lineup, this has been their lineup all year. As we talked about Roberts, we've got Dwyer and Day Wilson handling a lot of the ball handling responsibilities. Jada Patrick, the transfer from Columbia, and 2 possessions, 2 scores for Miami.
Yeah, Miami has looked really good offensively. They are so good at beating offensive defenders off the bounce, getting to the rim. And a great start for them just to see it go through the hoop. And I think that Baylor's really got to keep Miami in front. They've got to play team defense.
Well, that's been a problem for a lot of teams this year. This Miami team, even though they made a run to the Elite Eight last year, they lost 8 players from that team. And they're really reloading, but people have not been able to keep them in front so far this year. Whistle on the floor, a turnover, and it will be Miami again. Miami went on that magical run to the Elite Eight under Katie Meyer, who has done such a terrific job now in her 19th season at Miami. They had a 17-point comeback in the first round. They knocked off number 1 seed Indiana in the second round. They ended up advancing on and just lost to LSU in the Elite Eight, but it was an incredible run for this Miami program last year in the NCAA tournament.
How many brackets, Brenda, do you think that Indiana upset broke? Because that was an unbelievable game. I mean, just a great run. Katie Meyer, one of the best to do it in the business.
Dreana Edwards knocks down a three-pointer, shooting 33% so far on the year from distance. Jada Patrick picks up her dribble and just throws it away. Sarah Andrews steps in front of it.
And that's just a good possession defensively. They don't capitalize there, but I know Nikki Collin was worried about containing Miami's dribble penetration. You get a glimpse of how quickly they can turn a miscue by Baylor into offense. So making sure you take care of the basketball is going to be pivotal for the Bears tonight.
Dwyer scored on the other end, and then Jade Walker crashes in and has an and one opportunity for Baylor.
Jada Walker is just so good. You know, we saw her at Kentucky, and she was playing off the ball and somewhat, but she was scrappy, she was hardworking, she got a lot of playing time, and I think she's settling into Nikki Collins' system. But she's fearless. I think that's something that I really like about her game, Brenda. I mean, we watched her do that at Kentucky. Now she's able to suit up in a Baylor uniform and pick it up right where she left off.
Yeah, and learning that new system. She hasn't missed a free throw yet either, as she completed the three-point play, and she's now 10 for 10 on the year. But Miami has come out on fire. Cheyenne Day-Wilson hit that jumper. Edwards stepping through, dishes it off. Little Paige Bugs, last year's Big 12 freshman of the year.
Let me tell you about these two teams. Both have really deep benches. They can turn you over, especially Miami defensively, and they can score it. And especially Baylor. I mean, they average 24 assists per game. Edwards here on display, a little step through the defender, recognizes that our teammate is wide open for the layup, and that's just taking what the defense gives you, and that's a read and react play, which is signature for Nikki Collin.
Baylor has been putting up the points. They're 9th in the country, 2nd in the Big 12 in scoring per game, one of the best in setting up the shots with assists. Little Paige Bugs finding Andrews on the outside. A rare miss for Andrews, but Edwards keeps it alive. And then a whistle. A stoppage in play, so they'll take a look at the shot clock. It's at 18 seconds. You know, Stephanie, we've got an interesting dynamic here with Baylor averaging more than 90 points a game, and Miami holding their opponents to just 52 points per game. So we'll see what gives. So far, Baylor's offense has looked pretty good. There's a turnover there by Edwards.
I know, having talked to Nikki Collin in that Oregon game, she felt like, you know, she doesn't want to be a program that's just about offense. She wants to be a program associated with being elite, and that's playing both ends of the floor and being able to win games when their shots aren't necessarily falling. So she wants to be able to compete on both ends of the floor, their defense being able to dictate. But you're right, it's, you know, Baylor's up tempo. They average 90 possessions. Baylor averages 90, Miami averaging 80. But they score a lot off their turnovers, where Baylor's in their half-court sets. And Spearman coming off the bench. Brenda, you and I were talking about her, and she's just a fantastic player. She could start, really. Both teams have so much depth. But Spearman at 6'4", she's a sophomore, but she's got great body control. Springy to her. Remember, Baylor's not a super tall team, so Miami smartly goes right into her in the paint.
Bella Fauntleroy picks up her first foul, trying to defend Spearman. Boy, what a game Spearman had when Miami knocked off Mississippi State when they were ranked in the top 25. She had 15 rebounds in that game. Mid-range jumper for Jada Walker, the lefty. Jada Patrick. No, and a good rebound for Little Paige Bugs. Almost gets away, and Jada Walker is able to corral it. Walker gets loose, scores it. Walker
That's where
already with 9 points for Baylor.
She's really just taking what the defense gives her, and she's had some wide open layups there in the ball screen action. Just reads where the defender is, goes right to the paint. A turnover for Miami. Back and forth here in this game. We got two of the hottest teams in the country. Baylor, Jada Walker with the easy 2. Things heating up.
Welcome back to San Antonio. It's the Hall of Fame Series. San Antonio as the Baylor Bears out of the Big 12 leading Miami out of the ACC 14-10 here in the first quarter. Both teams shooting well in the early going. Baylor 6 of 9 for 67%. Miami 5 of 9. So a lot of offense here in the early going, Steph.
You know, if Debbie Antonelli's tuning in, she's smiling. You know, somewhere. She loves offense.
Well, we've had a little bit of that today, and just on a neutral site here, both these teams undefeated. Baylor beat Utah earlier this year when Utah was ranked 4th in the country. Miami knocked off Mississippi State when they were ranked. And this is a real test for both as Andrews is fouled as she goes to the hoop, has an and one opportunity.
Well, how about the pass from Dre Edwards to find Andrews just streaking to the basket and understanding she had a backdoor opportunity. That's where I think Edwards can be such a good decision maker at that 4 to 5 spot where she can trail for the 3. She can make good decisions in a pick and roll situation, also finding open teammates.
Well, Andrews, along with Dreana Edwards, are the leading scorers on this team. Both average over 12 points a game. Andrews had some time off in the offseason with an injury and just has a little rust that she's shaking off. But she is one of the most stone-cold three-point shooters in the country. And as she gets back to her full self, watch out for Baylor. Edwards has it stripped away, and Miami's going to have number. Good defensive transition for Baylor. Roberts nowhere to go with it. And Williams in off the bench misses the layup. Littlepage grabs all the way, misses that one. What a wide open layup.
A missed opportunity for Littlepage, Bugs, but you can see why. I mean, she's special. Why she was the last year's Big 12 Freshman of the Year. She didn't need many dribbles to get to the rim with that.
Lattimore with the miss, and then a foul on Jasmine Roberts on the free throw, or the rebound attempt, excuse me. 3:39 remaining in the first quarter. Baylor up 17-10, still shooting extremely well, 7 of 11, as Roberts has to go to the bench with the foul. And Roberts has not scored yet for Miami, their leading scorer on the year. Walker being hounded by Williams.
Edwards got to be a little bit more sharp with the basketball. She's popped it up a few times. Against this Miami speed and athleticism, they're going to chomp on that every time.
Ball knocked out of bounds. I think the officials are going to come together. That's going to be Miami ball. The first indication they were pointing toward Baylor, but it was off of Littlepage Bugs. Miami ball. Baylor on a 7-0 run. over the last 2.5 minutes, and another empty possession for Miami.
Felder is somebody that Nikki Collin is extremely high on, just her explosiveness. No one can stop her from getting downhill. I think Miami, within the half court, get a post touch, maybe kick it out, move the ball. Everybody's kind of standing around a little bit. Hasn't been a lot of fluidity to their offense.
And 0 for their last 4 attempts. Now 0 for 5. And Baylor comes away with the rebound. There's Felder. Felder, the transfer from Ohio, scored 22 points a game last year and gets back-to-back buckets. And a timeout called by Miami as Baylor takes the 11-point advantage.
You think about some of the offense that Baylor has on their team, some of their weapons. Yaya Felder, she comes off the bench, and when Nikki Collin, your head coach, says, no one can stop you and you're one of our best offensive players, that is high praise coming from her. In 2 possessions, she comes into the game, she scores, and she's looked good early.
And here's the balance for Baylor. Look at how many 5 players averaging in double figures, and Felder and Walker not far behind.
Yeah, I think this is, when we were talking to Nikki Collin about her team, she said, I've got depth really for the first time since taking this job. And you can see why she can fluctuate her roster, and it's not always the best starting 5. It might be situational, and we saw today that she made a change. And they haven't really missed a beat, up 11 right now on Miami.
Yet we haven't even seen Asia Blackwell in the game yet, as she typically has started for Baylor. And she hasn't been in at all here in the first quarter. They do have Madison Bartley, the 6'3 senior, the transfer from Belmont, number 3 for Baylor, on the court. And so you're seeing the different lineups that Nikki Collin can go to. 11-0 run for the Bears. No, an offensive foul called on Lamaya Hilton, as good defense shown there by the Bears.
We were talking about keeping Miami in front of you. Yaya Felder gets beat, but there's rotation there to take the charge. And that's kind of the team defense I was talking about. If your first level gets beat, what's your second level going to do defensively there? They draw the charge.
Felder, little pick and roll action with Bartley, and another score. Felder is called instant offense, and we have certainly seen it today.
Wow, Brent, I've been so impressed since she's come into the game. I mean, when Nikki Collin was talking about, no one can keep her in front, and, coaches talk about their players, but no one has stopped her yet so far in this game.
Turnover for Baylor. Oldacre finally stops the 13-0 run for Baylor.
Well, Oldacre can bring size. I mean, she's 6'6". She's got experience. She's a sophomore, but she gives you that at least physicality, a presence in the paint where Miami can give a touch and even a kick out if you need it. But I say they got to at least get it to the paint and kick it out.
Allie Stedman, number 21, into the game for Miami with the basketball. Oldacre had a terrific game against DePaul as she makes back-to-back baskets. She had 10 points, 7 rebounds, and Katie Meyer said, we would not have beaten DePaul had it not been for Oldacre in that game. Nice pass from Felder over to Bella Fauntleroy. First basket of the game for Fauntleroy. Time winding down in the first quarter. Bucket for Miami and Day Wilson to give a little bit of a boost. The last 3 possessions in a row, Miami was able to score.
Felder has been a great boost off the bench for Baylor. 6 points, 1 assist so far.
College basketball is brought to you by the Basketball Hall of Fame, where the game never ends. One of those players enshrined in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame just this past summer is Becky Hammond as we return here to San Antonio. Baylor with the lead over Miami. Baylor, Becky Hammond in the house, turned around there, but back-to-back WNBA champions with the Aces. Of course, she was herself a great player here on this court for the San Antonio Silver Stars when they were still in San Antonio. And it's great to see her in the house.
Yeah, if you haven't seen her Hall of Fame speech, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's motivational, it's inspirational, it's fantastic. And think about the 2 years Becky Hammond has had in the WNBA. 2 years, 2 titles. Not a bad start when people expected her to be an NBA coach and wait her turn, and she goes to the WNBA, and you know, she has been a joy to listen to when they're interviewing her during games. I'm sure she hates it, but you get so much information because she's just still coaching during interviews with Ryan and Rebecca, and it's just so fun to listen to her.
I love it. And I can't let a Becky Hammond reference go by without saying, I've known Becky since she was in 8th grade. She came to our basketball camps at the University of Nebraska, and so it's been so fun to watch her career since she was a youngster.
Is she still the same?
She's a lot the same as Miami is starting to make a little bit of a run here with Dwyer. She's a lot the same. She was pretty confident as an 8th grader. She came and you knew that she ran the show even at that young of an age. Nice pass. Asia Blackwell is into the game here in the second quarter. She gets her first basket of the game coming off the bench for the first time this year.
Well, let's credit the Baylor perimeter players for just keeping their head up and finding players in the paint and sharing the basketball. Right now, the Bears have 6 assists on 12 made field goals. And if you're Miami, keep your hands up defensively. Try to obstruct the view so it's not so easy for the guards to see open players in the paint.
Talia Williams gets to the rim to draw Miami within 7. Baylor led by as many as 13, but Miami chipping away here at the end of the first quarter and the beginning of the second. Andrews from 3. That's what Sarah Andrews does best, shooting 40% on the season. And a whistle and a foul away from the action. Let's look back at Sarah Andrews' 3.
Well, again, just unselfish basketball, making the extra pass to Andrews, who knows this system. She's the only Baylor Bear to have played more than 2 seasons at the school. As we know, the portal has changed the game, but the familiarity with what is expected of her, and she can just drill it from 3. I mean, you cannot give her any space if you're Miami.
So Bartley picked up the foul for Baylor, and Danae Fritz is into the game, number 1, the transfer from Iowa State. Miami shot clock winding down, 4 on the shot clock. Do they see it? Yes, get it up in time. Williams, no. And skying for the rebound is Yaya Felder. Good defensive play. Kyla Oldacre at the back of the defense snuffed that one out. And a 3-pointer goes down for Allie Stedman. That's the first 3-pointer of the game for Miami.
And I just think Miami, when they can capitalize on their defense in the half court, either forcing a turnover or a bad shot or a block shot. I mean, they scored 20 points off of those turnovers. And for me, a bad shot is a turnover. That is not a bad shot for Baylor. Felder is red hot.
She certainly is. 9 points already, 4 of 6 from the floor. That's her first 3-pointer. We have certainly seen what Nikki Collin calls instant offense for Baylor in Yaya Felder. Williams gets the ball screen from Oldacre, tries to turn the corner against Edwards, and is fouled on the shot.
I love this sequence for Miami. Oldacre rotates over. Here's the block. Miami top 20 in scoring defense, and then turning it into points, spotting up, finding your shooters. That's Miami basketball. That's really where they've found success this season.
So the foul was not on the shot. It was on the floor on Edwards. Stedman with another look at a three. Gets that one to go. Back-to-back three-pointers for Allie Stedman.
We talked about instant offense for Baylor, and that was Yaya Felder, and it's been Miami's bench that has equally stepped up and risen to the occasion when starters have been a little bit cold to finish that first quarter.
And that's been a big part for Miami this year. Their bench has really come through. They're number one right now in the ACC in bench points, getting 31 points off the bench.
And kind of how we've seen with Baylor, just swinging the ball along the perimeter. Miami finds Stedman in the corner for the three. And the best thing you could do with a shooter who just hit one, hey, get it right back to them and let it fly.
They were 0 for their first three from beyond the arc, and now hit their last two in a row, courtesy of the transfer from Pepperdine, Stedman. Williams picks up her dribble out to Stedman, gets away from her. Day Wilson out to Roberts. Roberts way off the mark. Edwards out top. Good offensive rebound, but great defense inside by Roberts. And Stedman again, a little heat check. And Oldacre goes to the floor, a scramble, a whistle. Possession arrow, Miami, when we come back. Baylor shooting 56% from the field, but Miami keeping it close. Baylor up 7.
Got this. Gobble, gobble. I seen bigger legs on a turkey. Rude. Who are you? I'm an investor in a fund that helps advance innovative sports tech, like this smart fitness mirror. I'm also Mr. Leg Day 1989.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
I go through a lot of pants.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
The college football playoff semifinals. New Year's Day on ESPN.
That's right around the corner as wrapping up basketball before the holiday break, but New Year's Day, looking forward to all of that. And Steffi, we'll see if you and I get cajoled into wearing football helmets on air again if we have any games together around that time.
For those just listening to us, Brenda and I wore football helmets, ran routes. She threw me a post route. Both wearing helmets. Then we put the headsets on over the helmet. I don't know how we actually did that, given the fact that they're so big now.
Yeah. Yes.
But
We'll
the
do
pass
anything,
was beautiful. Right? I caught it. It was great. And I wore a Georgia helmet, which I'd never thought would happen. And here we are.
Right? Former Gator. Absolutely. Baylor up now 34-26 in the second quarter. It's the Hall of Fame series. San Antonio, neutral site for these two undefeated teams. Who will get their first loss of the year between Miami and Baylor? Baylor preseason pick number 2 in the Big 12 behind Texas, who has had a remarkable season as well so far. Miami preseason pick 6. I think after they lost 8 from that team that made it to the Elite 8 last year, people didn't know how they would recover, but they have played incredibly well here in the early going.
Yeah, and I mean, we had a fantastic conversation with Katie Meyer just about when she scheduled this game. She really had 6 players for sure, you know, and then obviously was able to go into the portal and find some missing pieces that have been great contributors for her team now. So, yeah, this is a pivotal moment right now in the game. 4 minutes left here in the second quarter. When we talked to Katie Meyer about this game and what she was looking for, toughness and being able to absorb runs and what we're made of, and obviously Baylor right now with the lead, can they respond? Can they put together a 6-0, 8-0 run and get some stops defensively?
The turnover on Dwyer gives the ball back to Baylor, and you're right. That's the factor that Katie Meyer looking for, toughness for Baylor. I think both these coaches talked about what a great test this game will be, and we've seen it. And how about Jada Walker? She scored 9 points in the first 5 minutes of the half. Hasn't shot the ball since then, and comes in with that tough shot.
Yeah, Walker exudes toughness. I mean, she can get to the rim, and I think for me, it's her ability to finish with contact. She's not, she's not super big, she's not super tall, but she's 5'7", and I think she's got, the heart of a lion, and she'll go in there and be able to knock it down as she gets to the free throw line. Is that 10 of 10 or 11 of 11, Brenda? She hasn't missed a free throw, I don't think, this season.
That's right. Coming in,
I would not know that live.
9 of 9. Right. And a foul called on Dave Wilson. You missed a few free throws, Stephanie? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that maybe my 3-point percentage was better than my free throw percentage was. Which,
wow.
Yeah, that's not good. Just totally blasted myself for some reason. I'm not sure, but good take for Cheyenne Day Wilson, who I think she's got to get going for Miami. Had a solid freshman year at Duke and has been in the starting lineup now for the last 3 games for Katie Meyer.
ACC Freshman of the Year at Duke. Played there 2 years before transferring over here to Miami. She's averaging just over 10 points a game on the year, shooting 38% from 3-point range, but hasn't hit one yet today. She gets both free throws, though, to draw Miami within 9. Fritz in the corner. Andrews splits a couple of defenders. Nice floater, too hard off the backboard. Andrews gets it off to Edwards for the hoop.
I'll tell you what, Brenda, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. The way that Baylor shares the basketball has been really impressive to me. Just making the extra pass, they get a higher percentage shot. I think that's why they're one of the best in the country in terms of assist-to-turnover ratio and the way that they can score it.
Yeah, already 9 assists on 16 made free throws for Baylor, or made field goals, for Baylor, and that's really what Nikki Collin hangs her hat on. She wants this team to be great because of the way they share the basketball. There's the extra pass over to Andrews. Andrews now with a couple of 3-pointers. She's now in double figures along with Jada Walker. And a timeout on the court as Baylor is starting to extend this lead.
Sarah Andrews, one of the best to do it in the Big 12. Give her any space, she's going to make you pay. And Baylor continues to just score it at such a high clip, so efficient. 50% from 3, 57% from the floor.
We showed the balanced scoring with this team earlier. 5 in double figures, a couple not far behind. And when Nikki Collin talked to us about the team, she said that I want to bring a pro-based mentality. Once you make the roster, once you're a part of the team, it's not whether you score 15 points a game or 11 or what your stats are. It's how successful the team is. And I think that's a big part of the sharing of the basketball that you see and the balance that you're seeing from Baylor. Biggest lead of the game for Baylor, and a nice block from Little Page Buzz. Out in transition, Feller, nice pass to set up Edwards.
Feller has just been a playmaker from the second she's gotten into the game, and I see it. I know why now Nikki Collin is so high on her, because she can do it all with the ball in her hands. And again, unselfish play from Baylor.
Well, Laker kicks it out, but Walker with a hand on it. Streaking to the basket is Jalea Williams. Good quick hands. Miami with the steal. And you can just see how potent this Baylor offense is, Steffi. As let's look back first, though, at the defense that ignites the break.
The first block of the game for Baylor, and that's Trey Edwards showcasing her versatility. We talked about it at the top. She can run the floor. She finds Felder. Felder gives it back. It's just heady basketball, understanding good to great shots.
Keeping the dribble alive, Williams is fouled on the way to the basket, and she will go to the free throw line. But I was going to mention, Baylor already at 44 points. This Miami team in non-conference play has been holding its opponents to under 53 points a game.
Miami had that great win against Mississippi State, but that Mississippi State team not as potent and as versatile as this Baylor offense that they're seeing, because they can score it 5 out, they can play in the pick and roll. I mean, there's so many options that they're running and looking for, especially the pace with which they play. And I think too, Brenda, Baylor's done a nice job of just taking care of the basketball, because Miami loves to get out. They like to score off turnovers. They score 20 points off of other teams' turnovers and miscues, and they just haven't been able to string enough stops together to really feel some momentum offensively to get some easy buckets.
Jalea Williams hit the 2 free throws on the other end. We're under a minute to go in the second quarter here in San Antonio. Sarah Andrews will step back. That's her 3rd three-pointer of the game.
And Miami showing a little zone. They're trying to throw different looks at Baylor, but hey, if you're Andrews, you see a zone. That's the green light, the ultimate green light, yes.
Dariana Littlepage Bugs looked like she stripped the ball, but gets called for the foul. And let's take a look back at that Andrews 3.
Sarah Andrews has just been fantastic, and especially from the three-point line. We kind of mentioned her coming back from an injury, being a little rusty. She has not looked rusty today. Baylor has looked like a well-oiled machine.
At the free throw line, Jasmine Roberts. Andrews is 3rd all-time on Baylor's three-point made list as she is climbing up. And you can see her numbers for the day, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. Roberts makes 1 of 2 free throws for the Canes, and the shot clock is off as Baylor will have an opportunity for the last shot of the half. Felder, offensive rebound. Inside to Fauntleroy, and Baylor with 49 points in the first half of play, Steffi.
Just beautiful basketball. 12 assists for Baylor already in this first half. Can Miami regroup? Because they've got to slow down this Baylor offense, which has been red hot so far in this game.
Baylor has been red hot from beyond the arc. Andrews with 3 three-pointers. Baylor 5 of 10 overall from beyond the arc. And they lead 49-33 as we go to the half.
Try something new. The crowds grow as the year kind of went on. The last regular season game, you can't find a ticket anywhere.
Garver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City is sold out, 15,000 strong.
Last year was absolutely incredible. We had a great crowd.
She fires and goes! She hit it! Wow!
It's kind of hard for myself to wrap my head around just the way things have evolved over my 4 years. You know, when I'm out and about in the state of Iowa, everybody's like, we had so much fun watching you. We've never watched women's basketball before. now we're the biggest fans, and I think, the amount of attention and notoriety we brought to our game, not only Iowa women's basketball, but just the game as a whole, is what I'm most proud of.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
Me and her have never had beef. We've always been super competitive every time we play against each other.
You and Angel have spoken about your mutual respect for one another. What are your thoughts on all the attention that got?
I think it was good for the game more than anything. I think people loved seeing the fiery competitive spirit of women's basketball players. We love playing with emotion. When people come into our stadium and they see us high-fiving our teammates, getting feisty over a call, they want to support that. They want to get behind that. And I think that's what makes them come back for more.
Where does that fire and passion come from for you?
I was a very competitive kid growing up. I grew up playing sports with the boys, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, and I cried every single time I lost. My parents did not like that. It was not allowed. So I had to learn how to kind of channel my fire. I think that's what's allowed me to be so great, is that emotion, that fire, but also being able to channel it and use it in the right way.
Are you able, though, to still balance being a college senior who likes to do, I imagine, college senior things, but at the same time having a lot more eyes on you and scrutiny on you?
My mom that's always something she said, is there's always people watching, whether you know it or not. The way you carry yourself is very important, whether a camera is on, whether a camera's off, whether it's a small interaction at the grocery store, or whether it's, I'm out in public doing a speaking appearance. I always try to be the same genuine person.
What would people be surprised to learn about you off the court?
I'm just goofy and fun, and basketball's not the end all be all for me. And I think that just speaks to the way I was raised. I wasn't allowed to play sports if I didn't have good grades. I wasn't allowed to play sports if I didn't treat my brothers with kindness, if I wasn't, doing whatever the right way. I think my parents just raised me to understand sport is a privilege. I think that's what's the coolest thing for me, is how many people's lives I've been able to affect, whether it's at the Stead Family Children's Hospital right next to our arena, or if it's, a young girl I meet. Those are the people that at the end of the day, not only do I have an impact on them, but they have an impact on me. And that's a really cool thing that I get to enjoy too.
Congratulations, Caitlin, on a great year.
Congratulations, Caitlin.
They just told me I won AP National Player of the Year.
When it comes to you and honing your game, what are some of the things this offseason you focused on and wanted to improve on?
I think the biggest thing for me this offseason that I really worked on was coming off of screens, and not always having the ball in my hand. I think that's also something that will translate to the WNBA is, I might not always play the point guard position, as I might be the 2, I might be the 3, and, not have the ball in my hands.
Whenever you do go to the WNBA, you're going to be the number 1 overall pick. Let's get that out of the way right now.
When the time comes to make your decision about the WNBA, what factors will you consider?
I think the biggest thing that I'll consider is just my gut and kind of trust that. I think there's nothing like money-wise or NIL or this or that will really affect my decision to the WNBA, which has always been my dream since I was a young kid. Or is it going to be staying here at Iowa and continuing to build my legacy, continuing to play in front of 15,000 people every single night, and also just be a college kid and enjoy that and continue to be around my best friends every single day. So I think it's just, at the end of the day, it's trusting my gut, and in my heart, I'll know when I need to know.
And that's the question everybody wants to know. In its long, illustrious history, prior to this season, the Iowa Hawkeyes had only sold out a handful of games. This season, to the surprise of nobody, every single game is already sold out. To see Caitlin Clark and her teammates. Second half is on the way. Thanks for joining us.
Mom.
You give them space, they deliver, and we saw that from Andrews so far, and Edwards too, her ability to shoot the 3. Nikki Cohen wants her to play simple basketball. I think we saw that she didn't overthink a lot of Miami's defense, Brenda. I thought she just took what the defense gave her, and you think about Baylor shooting 57% against one of the best defenses in the country. That's impressive.
balanced scoring. 4 Baylor Bears over 7 points in this game, and they're shooting 57%.
And dropping down since line 6. USA.
Or get 1,000 bonus cash. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway sales event.
We get how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world.
The 10th-ranked Baylor Bears lead Miami 49-33 as we start the third quarter. And few Baylor fans have made it down from Waco to San Antonio. They actually had their last game at the Farrell Center right before the break. They played Delaware State a couple of days ago, and they will be moving into a new arena, the Foster Pavilion. And you know the fans in Waco love their women's basketball program. I'm sure they're excited, but so many great memories in the Farrell Center over the years. The women's basketball team, Steffi, 437 and 100 at the Farrell Center over the last 35 years.
Do you have a favorite memory of that arena?
Oh, wow. There are a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
One of them was driving through an ice storm to get there for a great game at the end of a Big 12 season. But a lot of great games over the years, watching Brittany Griner and Odyssey Sims and Melissa Smith and a lot of great players over the years. And now Nikki Collin trying to build on that tradition and has this team ranked 10th in the country right now. 20-win season, longest active winning streaks, Baylor right there behind UConn. Shot clock winding down as Andrew's going to have to hoist it up. Almost got it to go on the first possession. And Steffi, what does Miami need to do to chip away at this lead?
I think they got to be a little bit more aggressive in their on balls and just exactly. Great backdoor cut by Jasmine Roberts. And Baylor was just kind of forcing Miami to use the screens and then kind of helping in the gaps. So great read by Miami, but their bread and butter is getting downhill. So maybe picking up the pace a little bit.
And what a follow-up there off the miss. Little Paige Buggs was right there for Baylor to put it back in. Nice behind the back. Look at that from Lachey Dwyer. What a move through the paint. Fauntleroy back on the court. She started today for the first time this year in place of Asia Blackwell. High-low look to Edwards, trying to find space, too high off the backboard. And Day Wilson pushes ahead. Runs right into the defender, Jada Walker, and commits the offensive foul.
Great take by Jada Walker. But this bucket by Dwyer was just absolutely impressive, the ball handling. And we've seen really some tight ball handling in women's college basketball this year. You can see how many players have really put in the work in the offseason to get better at their ball handling, and it's been so good this season. And Miami now a little full court pressure, throwing some defensive different looks. I think that's a great idea by Katie Meyer Walker there, got hit in the face.
Well, Oldacre, just a brick wall that Walker ran into.
2 brick walls Walker just got hit with.
Yeah. No kidding, she took the charge on the other end and then runs into Oldacre down here.
Just a dead stop, yeah.
Ooh, hope she's okay. Ouch.
Walker is a tough kid.
Oldacre just a force inside for Miami. Dwyer goes to work again, shifts, hangs, scores. Fauntleroy, too strong. And Jada Patrick with the rebound, pushing ahead Miami, changing directions. Jasmine Roberts, and Miami has a little going on right now to draw within 10.
Well, back-to-back stops for Miami. You get stops, you get scores. This is Miami's bread and butter. Get out in transition off a turnover. Easy 2 for Jasmine Roberts.
Welcome back to San Antonio. Miami on an 8-2 run here in the third quarter to draw within 10. Two undefeated teams here looking for a little momentum going into the holiday break, preparing for conference play. Baylor out of the Big 12, preseason pick number 2, 8-0 on the year. Miami, preseason pick 6th in the ACC, also 8-0. And Miami has come out with a good start, Steffi, here in the third quarter. Can't get that bucket to go, but playing with a lot more fire here in the third quarter.
Yeah, no doubt. Great word to use to describe Miami's defense, especially. It's just rotating more with a purpose, covering some gaps, closing out a little bit harder on shooters. There you leave Andrews wide open.
Can't do that. Fourth three-pointer of the game for Sarah Andrews.
That's the difficulty in guarding Baylor. You got to respect each player, all 5 positions, and whether they can shoot the 3, get to the rim, beat you off the bounce. They're either going to put you in a pick and roll situation, and then you're trying to defend all that. They swing the ball over to Andrews. You're trying to close out. It's, that's the difficulty in guarding this Baylor offense. Is the 5 players out there can all score. All versatile players.
So good timeout for Nikki Collin to stop the momentum for Miami. Good battle on the rebound for Dwyer, and then a foul called on Edwards. Stephanie, we've talked a lot about the Baylor offense, but right now they're holding Miami to just 2 of 8 from beyond the arc, and in non-conference play, Miami is leading the ACC at three-point percentage, 39%, so the Baylor defense has really done a good job taking that aspect of the Miami offense away.
Yeah, I think I've been impressed with Baylor on both ends of the floor by them. Just covering space, good team defense. And Miami is not an easy team to guard. They've got really athletic guards, and they've been shooting phenomenal from the three-point line this season. You think about a player like Jada Patrick, a transfer, 41% from the three-point line, and to hold her to just 2 points. I mean, she has had a stellar start. And she's been slow. She hasn't had easy looks per se, and they've done a nice job of just closing gaps and trying to eliminate some dribble penetration from the guards.
Sarah Andrews out on the right wing, directing traffic. Fauntleroy, top of the key. And we're going to step aside for another break. 4:58 remaining in the third quarter. Baylor with a 13-point lead.
Their lives.
They have laws for these things.
Until they fade up, then you have me. The Beekeeper, rated R, in theaters January 12th.
Welcome back to San Antonio. Baylor leading 54-41 here in the third quarter, along with Steffi Sorensen. I'm Brenda Van Lingen. Glad to be with you. As this Miami team has run into a bit of a buzzsaw with Baylor, but they can put the ball on the floor and attack, and just got really in a scoring match with DePaul in their last game, a team that knows how to score some baskets, and were able to get the ball inside late in that game. So, you know, if they're able to get the ball into Oldacre, get some paint touches. Katie Meyer wanted to see how tough her team would be here. What do you think she's learning about her team so far today?
Well, we've seen them respond in spurts, and I think there's been toughness, but Baylor's just been tough to guard. You know, I think that she's learning about maybe what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses against a team like Baylor, a top 10 team. That's Oldacre. Good idea, you get the ball into the big girl, but she makes the mistakes. So maybe the timing of the mistakes. I like the fact that right after that break, Miami goes right at the hip of the Baylor defender in the pick and roll. Draw the foul. At least get to the free throw line. Try to accumulate some fouls. Neither team has really been to the free throw line today.
An offensive rebound by Little Paige Buggs. And to your point, Steffi, Baylor just 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Miami 5 of 7. So in that way, it's been a bit of a clean game. But can you create more opportunities at the free throw line by attacking it and trying to draw the foul? Oh, good defense by Asia Blackwell. It looked like Oldacre had her pinned. And Little Paige Buggs missing. Andrews there for the rebound, and a lot of traffic though. And then Nikki Collins saves the possession by calling timeout. Our officials today, Julie Cromenhoek was right in front of the bench and took the timeout from Nikki Collins. Eric Bruton and Bruce Morris are officials. And Collins able to save that possession with the timeout.
And Brenda, you remember when we were talking to Katie Meyer just about, hey, if we're not tough, if we're not beating Baylor to loose balls, or we're not, you know, giving extra effort, you know, we're gonna get beat. You know, we're gonna get beat pretty bad. You know, Baylor's that good, and I think they stayed with them. They stayed close. They just needed more offensive firepower. You know, and they couldn't get stops. Still plenty of time left in this game. We've seen them where it was an 8-2 run where they got 2 stops in a row and they got out in transition, played quick, got some easy 2s. Anytime they rushed Baylor offensively, I think that's been in their favor. Once you let them sit and play for 25 seconds in the half court, they're just too good.
Sarah Andrews turns the corner. Rare miss for her. She had a wide open look there. Jalea Williams restarting from the top of the key. Spearman off to Stedman. Stedman had a few three-pointers in the first half. And then a shot clock violation for the Hurricanes.
Here's this good defense by Baylor. You got Walker, great on-ball pressure. Asia Blackwell covers that backdoor cut. Everybody moving with a purpose, communicating, covering space.
Good post up by Fauntleroy, and that one gets away. It'll stay on this end. 18 seconds on the shot clock for Baylor. Yaya Felder back into the game. Felder had quite a first half for Baylor, stepping in 9 points.
It's Felder time.
Yep, there you go. There she gets it. It runs right into traffic. A little better defense for Miami, recognizing her ability to shoot, and that one goes out of bounds. It'll be Miami basketball. And because of this Baylor defense, Miami has had some scoring droughts. They right now are in the middle of their 3rd drought over 4 minutes in this game. And a turnover trying to go inside. So Miami trying to get those paint touches, but just haven't been able to execute it.
Yeah, Baylor guards have done a nice job of just being Really aggressive with on-the-ball pressure, trying to take away the vision, make it more difficult.
Foul on the drive. Dave Wilson. No, a turnover, excuse me, for Baylor. Well, we've definitely seen a lot more defense in this third quarter. Miami outscoring Baylor just 8-7 here in the third. And then a foul called. Julie Krumanoak calls the foul on Yaya Felder. Excuse me, on Blackwell away from the ball. And Asia Blackwell picked up her second foul. Stedman. Slicing through, Blackwell short. Nice pass, Blackwell with another miss inside. Well, it's been tough sledding, even shots in the paint not going down for either team right now. And then a foul called on Miami.
Both teams, Brenda, getting good looks and having opportunities, getting offensive rebounds, crashing the glass, just falling a little bit short. Got to know where you are in location to that rim.
Lazaria Spearman picked up her third foul and will go to the bench. Oldacre back in for the Hurricanes. Good ball movement for Baylor. Fauntleroy finally finding the bottom of the hoop from three-point range. That's her first three-pointer of the game. The sophomore now has 7. And a blocking foul called on Asia Blackwell.
Let's take a look at Fauntleroy's last bucket by Baylor. Their 7th 3. Jada Walker, she gets right to that paint, just at the nail, gives it up to her sophomore. Nikki Collin really emphasizing just get to the paint. 1 foot, 2 foot, even if you're kicking it out, good things happen.
You gotta give a shout out as Fauntleroy went to Kickapoo High School, a tradition-rich high school in Springfield, Missouri. Her mom played for Missouri State on that 2001 team that Jackie Stiles was on. Her mom, Carolyn Wyrick, on that team as Stedman comes back with a three-pointer for Miami. But a lot of basketball talent in Bella Fauntleroy's family.
Love learning from you, Brenda. Always learn something new on a broadcast with you, bringing the history.
Well, I got some ties to Springfield, Missouri, so I got to give a shout out to when they come through. Fauntleroy had a terrific freshman year last year and has just been so key, and we saw her get her first start of the year. Nikki Collin told us she's been the most consistent player for Baylor this year. Timeout on the court. 29.2 remaining. Baylor up by 15. Not a lot of offense here in the third quarter, but Miami staying within striking distance as the officials are going for the review. And you could see the Yaya Felder using her forearm, her elbow to clear the way, yeah. So they're calling the offensive foul, but the official is going to go to see if it needs to be upgraded. Intentional foul would be unnecessary, hard, or excessive. A disqualifying foul would be if the contact is severe, extreme, and unacceptable. We'll see if if this does rise to the level of unnecessary as she kind of cleared the path with that elbow.
After review, the current play is going to be upgraded to an intentional
It's kind of
foul.
tough just because she did raise that arm a little bit and then extend it out. But to me, it's still a basketball play. It's within trying to make a play at the rim and some intentional foul.
So we are getting word that it has been upgraded to an intentional foul, and you saw Lamaya Hilton being escorted off the court to be tended to by the Miami training staff. Silver Harris, the athletic trainer for Miami, heading to the locker room with Hilton, and it will send Cheyenne Day Wilson to the free throw line.
Yeah, Brenda, I think
Wilson,
if her arm would have kind of stayed to her body, but bringing it up and out, I think was a good indication they were going to elevate that common foul.
We've seen what a strong player Felder is, and so she clears a path no matter what, but got a little extra there for the intentional foul. So Day Wilson made both free throws. She's the only player right now for Miami in double figures. Stedman has 9 with those 3 3-pointers, but we really have seen the players for Miami that typically step up. Roberts leads them in scoring, has just 5 points, and it's been tough sledding all around for the Miami offense. Shot clock is off, and Miami will go for the last shot of the quarter. Oldacre out top, looking for someone to throw to, has to hoist it up, and can't get it to go. Good defense for Baylor on that last possession. The Bears up 59-46, still shooting.
Season of giving back. Kia, movement that inspires.
When we were fixing up the pool, they said it hadn't been used in 15 years.
I have seen things. And I'm worried something is happening to my husband. Whatever's in the water, it's after all of us.
I can hear you.
Night swim, January 5th, rated PG-13.
All right, Jerry, ready to go on a fast break?
Yes. No.
I heard you got a talent. You want to tell about your talent?
Yeah, I can rap a little bit.
You wanna rap a little?
24. Sarah is the GOAT. That's my dog, and you know she on go. I don't care what you're saying. I pick her every time, and I love her. Okay. That's Dre Edwards. This is Fast Break.
We had a lot of fun on Big 12 Media Day, and Dre showed her talents. Started her career at Utah, and then, of course, made that amazing run through the SEC tournament a couple of years ago. Had to sit out last year with the transfer 4-4-4 rule, and really getting her first opportunity to get on the court this year, Steffi.
You know, I interviewed her after that Kentucky buzzer beater against South Carolina in the SEC tournament. She's yelling in the microphone. I got a grip on her so she doesn't run away. She wanted to take my mic. I mean, it was like one of the best interview experiences. And also, like, I don't know how this is going to go. And she was awesome. And she's just a joy to be around. A fitting 3 for her. That's exactly where she hit it in that SEC tournament. I know Nikki Collin was talking to us about her just being fun to coach and challenging her and hitting on her, but just it being a rewarding process since she's gotten to Baylor.
Yeah, wasn't able to play last year, has been so excited to get out on the court for Baylor. You could just see her enthusiastic personality as that time Jada Patrick goes to the rim over Edwards, but Edwards, she's rapping about Sarah Andrews. Sarah Andrews leading the way today with 16 points for Baylor, but so many scoring options for the Bears. And there's Andrews again. No, can't get that one to drop, but Oldacre with the rebound.
Brenda, you didn't try to rap back and forth, or there was no rap battle, or?
No, there was none. And they were just getting such a kick out of it. That's why I was laughing so much, because they were all cheering her on off camera. It was pretty fun. I do not want to have any part of that. That's not my skill set. You and me both, Brenda.
Like to see Dre Edwards and Flau'jae Johnson on LSU.
That'd be fun down. Stedman gets her first non-three-pointer of the game, as she has really been a spark off the bench for Miami. And here's that balance that we're talking about with Baylor.
Andrews having, leading the way for Baylor today with 16, but, Fauntleroy, Nikki Collins saying she's been the most consistent player this year. But Yaya Felder came in and contributed right away. Dre Edwards, obviously, she can do it. We've seen flashes, too, of Asia Blackwell getting into the action. So there's a ton of talent. And Nikki Collins saying, hey, if you're not producing, you're going to have to sit and watch. Well, that's what depth does. And we've seen that today.
So the biggest lead of the game today for Baylor was 18 points. And now with that basket, Oldacre draws within 10. So Miami not going away. And this is a team Katie Meyer wants to see their toughness factor in this game. Jana Van Geitenbeek, the player that transferred from Stanford a couple of years ago, number 4 onto the court for Baylor. And then a foul called on Miami. And Van Geitenbeek going back to the bench.
And Brenda, you can kind of look at it two different ways here in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes left. Can Miami fight back? Can they absorb this run and extend it? Get another stop, get another score. Can Baylor put their foot on the gas pedal and extend this lead? Either way, the coach with 7 minutes left going to find out really what their team is made of.
Jalea Williams committed the foul. Will send Sarah Andrews to the free throw line. You had mentioned earlier, not a lot of trips to the free throw line today. Andrews is 2 of 3 from the line. Jada Walker, the only other player for Baylor that's even been at the charity stripe. Not really very many for Miami either. They're just 7 of 9. Andrews, an all Big 12 first teamer last year, as she led the way for Baylor with just under 15 points a game. She was second team all Big 12 her sophomore year out of MacArthur High School, Irving, Texas, same high school that Odyssey Sims went to. She grew up idolizing Odyssey Sims. It makes both free throws to bump the lead back up to 12. Jasmine Roberts has been pretty quiet this game, just 5 points. As she rises up, can't connect on that. Now just 2 for 6 from the floor for the junior. Nice pass by Andrews to set up Fauntleroy for the bucket. Williams changing directions. Roberts trying to clear a path. Still struggling. She had such a great run through the NCAA tournament last year for Miami. Such a spark. And how about that? Yaya Felder draining the 3. She's now in double figures. 4 players for Baylor in double digits. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball.
been around more.
Parents don't get B2B. LinkedIn?
Game brought to you by Invesco QQQ. How about the play of Sarah Andrews from three-point range tonight?
A good shooter is always ready on the catch. She does all her work early. Her footwork's there. The release is the same, showcasing why she's one of the best shooters in the country. Just a fantastic performance from Sarah Andrews in this game. And a big one, too, against the top 25 opponent.
You know, she tied her season high for 18 points. The other game that she scored 18 points in was in their defeat of number 4 Utah. And that's really, I think, what started vaulting Baylor up the rankings when they beat Utah. And in that game, Andrews also had 18 points.
With the way that Utah took it to South Carolina, that win keeps looking better and better.
Shot inside by Oldacre. Baylor continuing to push. Letty Vasconcelos into the game, the only freshman on the team, the 6'7" freshman from Brazil. There tries to get a hand on that rebound, can't corral it. The only freshman on the team for Baylor this year. She is from Brazil.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Well, I was going to say she's from Brazil, but she actually finished her high school at Monteverde Academy in Florida, where they won the national championship at the high school level the last couple of years. So, you know, she has an opportunity to come in and play in and around all these veteran players on this team and have a chance to learn under Nikki Collin in this system.
And at her size, just giving Baylor a little bit of a different look offensively, because in large part, Baylor doesn't play with a ton of size, so I'm curious to see how they look offensively with her on the floor.
Yeah, so the primary players, nobody's over 6'1" for Baylor, so it'll be interesting to see how the freshman fits in. Fauntleroy with her second three-pointer of the day, and this her first start of the season. She's now in double figures with 12. Vasconcelos there defending Oldacre. Oldacre draws the foul on the freshman.
Oldacre's really given them some solid minutes. 8 points, 6 boards, just giving them a physical presence. Maybe she hasn't always gotten a touch, but she's rebounded, she's altered some shots. Now she gets to the free throw line.
And she's just that nice compliment to the guard play of Miami. Spearman comes in. She's gotten into a little bit of foul trouble today. They've got Lattimore at 6'4", but you talk about Baylor doesn't have a lot of size. Miami, besides those three players, very guard heavy. And some full court pressure from the Canes. And you got to think this Baylor team, Steffi, is just going to get better and better throughout the year. When you look at the players that are getting a lot of playing time, Jada Walker, the transfer from Kentucky, this is her first year. Edwards, after sitting out last year, it's her first year playing. Asia Blackwell was injured most of last year, so this is her first full year. And then you've got Sarah Andrews and the two sophomores who played a lot last year, Little Paige Buggs and Fauntleroy. So as they all get to playing together more throughout the course of the season, you've got to think this team is just going to get better and better.
Oh, no question. And it's really reps and repetition and getting big confidence wins, like for Baylor today to get a win against Miami on a neutral site. I think from a big picture standpoint, Brenda, a lot of teams are going to get better in February. in January and February because of the nature of the portal and players that are just now learning how to play together and then getting the reps and time crunch situations and can they pull out a win and then they have more confidence. So I think the game as a whole, we're going to see some teams just get better and better.
Well, Baylor has looked pretty good today. 5 players in double figures led by Sarah Andrews. Felder, Walker, Fauntleroy all with 12, and Edwards with 10. As now Fauntleroy with 13 points on the day. And gets away from Miami on the drive.
What's also impressive is the fact that Baylor, from an offensive standpoint, they share the basketball. There's no real high volume shooters. It's not somebody taking 17, 18 shots. I mean, most players are taking 8 to 12, your primary ball handlers. And I think everybody keeps engaged because anybody can score at any given moment. It's not just one player go and make us a play. So it's making it so hard for Miami to guard this Baylor offense.
That's a great point. Felder on the court, out top to Walker. And to your point, 18 assists on 28 made shots, and that's really what Baylor tries to do is set up the shots with the pass. Andrews pounded. And a shot clock violation as the ball never hit the rim. And one extra pass, Nikki Collin saying, pay attention to the shot clock. No, nobody hit the rim that time.
She doesn't want any wasted possessions. You know, she's loves analytics. She went through some analytics with us and in terms of their efficiency and just not wasting possessions. A little frustrated there with her team there and coaching with her team up. Brenda, I don't do math. Do you do math? What do we got? Put back the calculator nearby.
I'm ready. Blocking foul called on Bella Fauntleroy. So before the holiday break, these teams aren't done. Baylor still has a couple of games. Their first games out of the state of Texas. All of their games have been in the state of Texas. They've either had their home games, they had an away game at SMU, and then this game in San Antonio. So they'll have their first game out of the state of Texas at West Palm Beach, Florida, and when they play Providence in South Florida on the 20th and 21st, and then a whistle and a foul. Miami, before the holiday break, will go back home to play Jackson State on December 20th and try to regroup.
I think this is a great test for Miami and for Katie Meyer to see where her team is, where they can improve. I think Charlie Cream right now has 10 ACC teams heading to the NCAA tournament, his projection. So they're going to be tested in conference play, but this style of play in Baylor is definitely different, and there's going to be a lot of takeaways for a team that lost a lot from last year's Elite 8 run, and they're figuring it out.
Well, Maya Hilton misses that one. We haven't gotten to talk about her a lot today. She has not scored in this game, but she has been really good for Miami. One of the biggest surprises of her recruiting career, Katie Meyer said, as she's coming off an 11-point game against DePaul that hasn't scored today. Oldacre blocks it right back into the hands of Little Paige Bugs. And a little smile for Little Paige Bugs, realizing maybe she shouldn't have caught that ball. Of course, both teams getting ready for conference play after the holiday break. Looking forward to Baylor and Texas will match up right after Christmas before the New Year's Eve holiday. And looking forward to that one at Texas on December 30th. And then TCU, what a year they are having so far. And then Houston joining the Big 12 this year will see Baylor. So again, Baylor kind of keeping this trend of keeping it in the state of Texas for a while. And a nice drive from Van Geitenbeek, but she misses the layup. And that one gets away from Jasmine Roberts. So Roberts, who's had a tough day, just 5 points on 2 of 8. Freshman lining it up. Can't get that one to go as we look ahead at Miami's schedule after they play at home against Jackson State, and then December 28th at Alabama State, they will start ACC play with Louisville, who lost to UConn earlier today.
The 2 players, Brenda, that we haven't really talked about for Miami today, Jada Patrick, she's had an off night. And Lamaya Hilton, these are 2 players, 2 transfers. Patrick coming over from Columbia, Hilton from Arizona. They've been huge contributors for Katie Meyer. And so when you take into account where you need those players to step up in a game where you know you're facing a high octane offense, it's just been tough for them to really get going offensively. Relying on just, Cheyenne Day Wilson just trying to get to the rim versus Patrick and Hilton shooting the 3 ball.
And a team in Miami that has made 8 3-pointers per game in non-conference play held to just 3 of 14 from beyond the arc. Timeout on the floor. Katie Meyer going to bring her squad around her, as it's still a time of great teaching this time of year. A lot can be learned, even in a game that the outcome is decided. There's still things that coaches want to make sure their teams are practicing on to prepare for conference play.
Yeah, especially after timeouts and executing whatever Coach Meyer is drawing up and seeing, no matter what the score is, you're on the road, you're down, can you still put together, a solid 50 seconds? And, I've been impressed, watching a handful of Miami games, Brennan, and I'm sure too, preparing for this game, of just the team basketball, the way that they defend, they can turn you over, play fast. Oldacre has given good minutes. They've got depth this year. They can kind of beat you in different ways. Baylor's just tough to guard. They're just tough to guard at all 5 spots. And I think that Miami kind of got exposed in some aspects there. But, heading into conference play, I think that they can learn from this and correct some mistakes of where they were wrong defensively, or maybe it was a scout not knowing, losing Andrews offensively, right? Just some things you got to clean up. But I like the length, the athleticism, and just the overall play of Miami so far this season.
Well executed play out of the timeout, just couldn't get the shot or the putback to go. And jump ball will stay possession arrow Miami. And the Big 12 race is going to be very interesting this year. We're going to see right out of the gate that Baylor-Texas matchup on December 30th. But Kansas State has been playing extremely well this year. TCU has been terrific under their new coach. West Virginia has had a great start to the year as well. And Kansas has tested themselves with a very tough non-conference schedule. Oklahoma as well. So with the 4 new teams joining the Big 12 and a lot of new faces, it's going to be another interesting year in the Big 12.
I think Rory Harmon's flying a little under the radar with how well she's playing.
I think she is. I mean, if people haven't heard about Rory Harmon, they aren't paying attention to Texas basketball. But she's been good for a couple of years, and she's really showing out again this year. So Jada Walker with a terrific game today for Baylor. She really got things started, had 9 points in the first 5 minutes of the game. She's got 12 points. 5 players in double figures for Baylor. And Jada Walker at the free throw line. Preseason Big 12 Newcomer of the Year. A lot of high expectations for Jada Walker this season at the point guard position for Baylor. And Miami loses for the first time on the year as Baylor bumps up to 9-0, the 10th ranked team.